Hey, what's up guys? Mike Red Fox. In this video, we're going to go over all the recent mining news from AMD and NVIDIA's new GPU announcements to the Ravencoin Halving coming up and the new FluxNode structure and more, so stay tuned. All right, let's get started with NVIDIA's announcements. So they announced both a RTX 3090 Ti and an RTX 3050, which were both heavily rumored to be coming out and be released in January, though we don't have a release or official specs for the RTX 3090 Ti yet. We did get an announcement for the RTX 3050, which will be released later this January. And this website that I use all the time, videocardswithz.com, has all the information if you guys want to check it out. So though there's no official specs yet on the RTX 3090 Ti, they are using their rumored or leaked specs that they have available. So I was taking some time to size up that GPU versus the RTX 3090. And you can see when you size them up next to each other, the 3090 Ti, to no surprise, should run a little faster. It's got more CUDA cores, and then it has better memory clock as well. And the biggest thing for us miners on this GPU is that TDP 450 watts, 100 watts more than the 3090 and 3080 Ti. So should be an absolute powerhouse of a GPU. How it does in mining, it will do better than the 3090 is what it looks like. I don't think it'll have any LHR since NVIDIA didn't do that with the 3090. I'm really excited personally to see the performance on it, of course, on Ethereum, but also the prog based algorithms. Though that thing is going to take a ton of power, so it's going to be really interesting to see how I might build a rig of those, what the most amount of GPUs I want to do is. But I'm really excited for that one personally. I mentioned it in my last mining news video, but now it's officially announced, though we don't have an exact date and we don't have an MSRP yet. The rumored MSRP was $14.99, but that is exactly what the MSRP of the, for Founders Editions, by the way, we're talking, because you won't be able to get that MSRP from any of the Afterboard partners. But that $14.99 is the same MSRP price of the Founders Edition 3090. So still remains to be seen. Is it going to replace the 3090? Is it going to exist alongside of it? Will the MSRP of the 3090 go down if this comes at $14.99, or is $14.99 that rumored price just completely incorrect and this will be priced higher? So it looks like we're going to get more details later this month according to NVIDIA. Now, the other GPU they announced, which typically would be less exciting, is the RTX 3050, a really low tier GPU. But what I wanted to take a look at is how that's sized up next to what it's directly competing against, which is AMD's lower tier GPUs. And I'm going to go through that in a second. But just to see the specs here, the RTX 3050 8GB, which we do have official specs on, that is going to come with 8GB of GDDR6. So you can mine Ethereum with it. And you can see the rest of the specs here, the TDP of that card coming in at 130 watts. And what I did is I wanted to see what that sized up closest to on AMD's side. So I pulled up and found the specs of the RX 6600, which is what it sizes up next to the most competitively. It's got the same memory size, 8GB GDDR6. It's got the same memory bus width at 128. And the memory clock is also the same, coming in at 14 gigabits per second. And the TDP of each card, 130 watts on each one. Now, the big difference between them is the core. So the core count on the 6600 is 1792, but the core on the 3050 8GB is 2560. So at least for me, what that means mining-wise is, well, before that, I can't find anything if this card is going to be a light hash rate card or not. It's not on NVIDIA's website in the specs. I haven't seen anything rumored. It's assumed that it will be, but there hasn't been a definitive. If it wasn't, it should perform on Ethereum more or less the same as the 6600, coming in with all the memory specs being the same, which you're looking at like 29 mega hash per second. But it should outperform the 6600 and even the 6600 XT on any core intensive algorithm. So I'm curious to see how that does in comparison to the 6600 on, say, FearoPow or KawPow or any of the other algorithms that are non et hash based. So it all really depends on if it's going to be LHR. The MSRP price is $249, which again, it's just not going to be what you're going to be able to buy it at. So take all of that with a grain of salt. But I am more excited now to look at this GPU after I size it up to the 6600, because those are just amazingly efficient cards for Ethereum mining. And we'll see how this does once somebody gets their hands on them, or we get some more information if it's going to be an LHR card or not. Fingers crossed that it won't be. Okay, on AMD side, they released the 6500 XT. I'm going to spend almost no time on this card because I'm not interested in it at all. It's only got 4 gigabytes of GDDR6, so it can't mine ETH, can't mine Firo. So it would have to mine some of the coins that have a DAG size under 4 gigabytes, which, I mean, it's just, I can't see this card doing much. I can't see it too much, so I'm not going to spend any time talking about it personally. Other news from this last week is somebody discovered that if you have a specific RTX 3080 Ti, you can flash the BIOS of a 3090 and get up to 110 mega hash performance on the 3080 Ti. Now, everybody started getting all bugging out about this and like looking at all their GPUs, but what it comes down to is that it has to be a really specific GPU. It has to be a Dell or Alienware RTX 3080 Ti, and not even it looks like all of them. Looks like some of them from the early run of those GPUs. So I guess the speculation of it is Dell or Alienware had, 3090s or maybe just underperforming 3090s, and they cut them down to perform as a 3080 Ti. I haven't seen anybody open those GPUs to see if they have 24 gigabytes of RAM versus the 12 gigabytes of RAM that the 3080 Ti comes with. I'm interested to see that. If anybody has one or has seen one tore down to show the memory inside, please let me know. But it's like a really small percent of people that have this. I've only seen a couple reports of people that actually have this card that were able to BIOS flash it. Any other 3080 Ti that exists, it doesn't work. It's just these really, really specific cards. So small news item that got a lot of attention, but in the end, after doing some research, it's not too newsworthy. You got to have that real specific card with the device ID that contains 2204, which you can check in GPU-Z. Okay, other news. Ravencoin is doing its halving. So in case you don't know what a halving is, cryptocurrencies do this. Bitcoin, the biggest one that does this and started this whole thing. And so what happens is that Ravencoin will have the block reward that's released when a block is solved. So the block reward right now for Raven is 5,000. And soon it will go down to 2,500. And that is coming in 3 days, 17 hours, 22 minutes, and 543 seconds as of making this video. So what does this mean? It means that there will be less Raven released into the wild with every block that is solved by a miner. And it will mean that I guess the big speculation, I'll just cut to the chase, is what's going to happen with the price? What's going to happen with the price? There will be less released. Does that make it more scarce? Does that then increase the price? And as of making this video, for the last few days, you've seen the Ravencoin price go up. So Ravencoin follows the Bitcoin halving schedule. So then let's look at what Bitcoin's done, because Bitcoin's been through 3 halvings. And you can see in 2012, the first halving, 2016 was the second one, and 2020 was the third one. This is courtesy of Cointelegraph.com, this chart. You can see the price on the day of halving, and you can see the price 150 days after the halving. And the correlation here is price went up, price went up, price went up. Makes sense, right? If you just really sat back and thought about it, if there's less being released and it's scarce, then it should cause more demand, which then increases the value. And that's the spec. That's the spec play for a lot of people, myself included, that have been mining Raven, is that will this cause the price to go up over time? Or does the price just go up over time because it does, because more people find out about it, there's more news, there's more development on it? Or is it directly correlated to the halving? That's the big question. I'd love to know your opinions down in the comment section below. But that's coming up really soon. I'm excited for that. Excited to see what unfolds afterwards. So stay tuned for the Raven Halving coming up in just a few days. Now, the last piece of news we're going to talk about that I was really excited to see is the new FluxNode structure. I'm a big fan of Flux. I've mined it for a long time. I do run a node, and I've ran a node on the Flux network for quite a while. And if you're not familiar with nodes, let me break it down for you. So it's a way for you to take a certain amount of Flux, in this case, that you have, and lock it up. And you can run a node, and that node will provide a service to the Flux network. And in return for providing that service, just like a miner will, it will earn a reward, part of the block reward from the Flux blockchain. And so there's different tiers of Flux nodes that you can run, which give you greater rewards depending on how much collateral you lock up. And Flux just changed this to make it even more affordable. Well, maybe not more affordable, maybe more attainable, because the price has certainly gone up over time. Make it more attainable for more people to get involved and run Flux nodes. So the first 3 have existed for a while, but the amount that you now need, the collateral you now need, has been greatly reduced. So you can see the first 3 nodes here. The first one starts now at 1,000 Flux, second 12,500, and the last one, the most powerful node you can run on the Flux network, now starts at 40,000 Flux. And so this should allow some people who maybe nodes were a little out of reach before get involved and run a node to support the network, as well as there's 2 other updates to the FluxNode structure. So number 4 here, Cirrus, I think is how it's pronounced. Now you can run a node off-chain, so you're not going to get rewards directly from the block reward, but you'll be able to run a node with as little as 5 Flux and provide more or less like a test net to dApps, to people doing dApp development, and they will pay you to use essentially the test net that you're a part of. So I think that's really cool. It's just a way to get involved with such a small amount of Flux. The other one that is really, really cool is Project Titan, and that's the one down here on the bottom. These are shared nodes. So I've done shared nodes before. So maybe in this example, you need 1,000 Flux to run their first node here. In the past, there's been websites that you can use to say, like pool with a bunch of people, all your Flux together to get to that 1,000 and then split the reward in ratio depending on how much Flux you've put on towards that node. And that has happened. You've had to like trust third parties and maybe some shady websites, or have done this with a group of individuals that you trust. But now this is all going to be done with a smart contract on the Flux network. So you'll be able to contribute in a node in a smart contract, on a trusted smart contract on the Flux network, without having to have the full amount required to run a node. So long story short, what this does, in my opinion, for Flux as a whole, is allows so many more people to get involved in running nodes, which is just extremely healthy for the node structure of the Flux network, and will bring more people in and make more people aware of, in my opinion, how great this project is, and help them achieve the things that they want to achieve. So big congrats to them. I'm not associated with them or involved with them. I'm just a big fan of that project, and I'm really excited for this personally for me, as I'm able to run now more nodes than I currently do based on the new collateral. And I'm excited to get more people involved and just see the buzz as time goes on. So that's it, guys. That's all the news that I found this last week or so as it relates to mining and cryptocurrency. If there's anything I missed, anything you're excited about, let me know in the comment section down below. I'll leave links to everything I discussed down in the comment section in case you want to review it a little bit further or get some more knowledge. And as always, hope you enjoyed the video. Hit the like button if you did. Subscribe to the channel for more GPU mining content. Join my Discord if you want to chat. The link is down in the description. And please take care of yourself, take care of each other, and I'll see you in the next video.